This Bakugan is broken. There are springs hanging out of him. He's dusty. He clearly needs a bath. It's caked all in the cracks of him. He even seems a little stiff in some of the joints. His feet are completely damaged. He can no longer walk. At least he opens, though. And he spins okay, meaning he's still ready to fight. He still has some battle left in him. We're going to fix him. And it's going to start by looking at these beat up springs. We really need to get this guy walking again. And so to start, I'm going to just take some tweezers and work on getting these little pins, these little springs, back into the holes where they belong in the body. So you'll see me here just kind of wiggling and working to try and get the tension back in them. And while I'm doing this, all I could think was, how did this guy get in this situation? Was he so loved that he just broke apart? Was he used and abused so bad that he broke? How many brawls did he see? What's his story? I would like to think it's a happy one where he was used and loved so much, but we may never know. As you can see here, I managed to get him to start working. This foot started to, pop out. Not perfect yet, but it is a step in the right direction. This one, however, was much more difficult. The spring was warped, and it was going to be a lot harder to get it where it needed to be. So I worked, and I struggled, and eventually everything sort of just fell into place, and he could finally walk again. Look how happy he looks. He even decided it was time for a roll, and as you can see, he started popping open successfully. Now time for a bath. Looking at him like this reminds me of a kid coming home after playing outside all day, covered in mud, even on their face, like he looks like he is here. So I went ahead and got a Q-tip and just kind of went over all the dusty areas, getting the main bits to see just what I could scrape off with just a little bit of cotton. I decided to use a little lens wipe you'd use on glasses because it has no alcohol in it and it'd be a little bit more gentle on the paint and stuff like that, and so it was able to get into the cracks and really pick up any remaining dust here. I got even into his feet and the cracks around the spinning wheel. Checked him to make sure he'd close okay, wiped up the bottom. And I really think, in this shot especially, you could tell he's clean. He looks brighter or more vibrant just after a bath, just, getting all those little spots. So I think he's happy with it. I think he enjoyed it. So here's me kind of just examining all the cracks again to make sure he's properly clean. And also looking at this little wheel. That's our next step. I knew this guy had fight left in him when the wheel spun okay. Not perfect, but enough to see light at the end of the tunnel. I also decided to test the ripcord feature, and I actually printed out one because I didn't have one, so shout out to this person for creating it. The issue with this, though, was that I think it was slightly too big. It wouldn't go in, so I had to decrease the size, but that was only half the problem. Even with a smaller ripcord, it still didn't want to go through. I thought now is the time to bring out some of the oil. So I took a pipette, put a little oil right here, and then I started just adding it to all the potential problem areas. The ripcord section right here on the body, as well as the little magnetic spring piece. And right away I could tell a difference, but that ripcord was still not going through the body. So I added more oil and did more cleanup and kept working and working, not giving up on this guy. I got the spin a bit better. I could see some progress there, but that ripcord still wouldn't go in. I tested this for so long, but the solution was actually really simple. It was like ripping off a band-aid. All I had to do was shove that ripcord in as hard as I could. And ever since then, this guy was ready to roll. Beautiful spinning, working as intended. He was finally back on his feet, working as he should be. And I was really excited at this point. To see him spin like this, to work as intended, the ripcord was feeding through perfectly. And it was now time for him to do what he was meant to do. Bakugan Brawl. Words cannot describe how happy I am to see this guy like running at his full potential. Just the noise of the ripcord going, oh, it feels so good. He just feels more alive, and so I'm really happy to have been able to fix him. I mean, who knows how long he was broken like this, you know? And so being able to restore him to his former glory feels super, super good. He can now finally do what he was intended to do and pass on the element to Drago. And I also think I know where I'm gonna put him, and I felt like he properly belonged in the display with everyone else. And I'm gonna nestle him right where he belongs, between Helix Dragonoid and Lumino Dragonoid. Thanks for watching.